All right, so here's my review of the Chiang Mai Zoo. We were there a total of 3.5 hours. We walked the entire time. We had a stroller. Um, the first hour, there weren't really a lot of hills. The second hour, when you follow it along to the left, there's a path, so you go with the flow of traffic, which actually makes a lot of sense, um, and which gives you enough time also to pretty much, if you get there at 8 o'clock, which we highly recommend, 8 a.m., get there right when they open. Go on a weekday. Go when it's not going to be raining. Go on the coolest day of the week if you can, even though it's hot here. But we had a fantastic day. We saw almost all the animals that were available to us. We did not get to go to the aquarium. It was closed until 10 a.m. and the way that the path works, it's kind of weird. It doesn't open until 10, but it only takes 50 minutes or so to walk to that part of the park. So that's a bit of a flaw in planning because we were not about to walk all the way back. There's also an extra fee to go into the aquarium, but I think it's probably well worth it. I think it's more to go in the aquarium than any other part of the zoo. It only cost $5 per adult US, so 150 baht per person, and our 2-year-old was free. And so for $10, that's all we paid. And then we got to the panda exhibit, and that was an additional 100 baht per adult. So, like $3.50, which was well worth it. So for the day, we paid $17. We could bring in our own food and drink. We didn't really eat much. We drank a little. We were able to go buy some coffee in one of the coffee shops along the way. We didn't eat any food, so we can't really tell you how all the food was, but there's plenty of food. It's like street food, and then there's some little shops and things like that. So it's not gourmet, but it's probably also, the prices were great. The coffee was super cheap, so you're not being gouged like you would be in the States. And then let's see what else. The only things that were a bit of a letdown were there weren't as many monkeys out as we would have liked to have seen, and the seal exhibit was closed, so we couldn't go into that one. But the first 2 hours our son fell asleep, so the second half of the last hour and a half was really more for us at that point than him. He woke up in the tuk-tuk on the way back. We took a tuk-tuk to the zoo from right near the tape gate. How do you pronounce the gate, honey? Tepe gate. Tepe gate. The old city. And we took a tuk-tuk from there. We just hailed it. They said it would only be 100 baht, which is only again like 350 total. So 50 per person. Baby's usually free. And we put a stroller in it and got to the zoo and went in exactly at 8 a.m. It was great. We came out of the zoo at the end, and just so happened another tuk-tuk was, the tuk-tuk trucks, the big red trucks, was dropping off someone. And it's a weekday. We had the zoo almost to ourselves the entire day, so we weren't sure if we'd actually see any tuk-tuks or we'd have to walk out to the zoo and go to the main street, which really is not very far. It's right off of the main street, so you're not like up in the woods or something like that. So don't worry if you need to get a tuk-tuk. It's pretty easy. And we got a tuk-tuk and whisked home again for 50 baht per person, so 100 baht total. So it was a super cost-effective day altogether, with the tuk-tuks and everything under $25. So you can't beat that for a family day out where you're gone for 4 hours. So highly recommend the Chiang Mai Zoo. I'd say the only negatives were maybe one tiger and the big lion with the mane. They both didn't look real happy. The tiger was pacing back and forth with his mouth open, which, we've had a lot of cats in our life, and they're usually agitated when they do that. And you could tell that he was agitated, or he didn't seem as healthy as he could have been. And I think it was more mentally than physically, perhaps. But he was in a small enclosure. Other than that, all the other animals looked good. It was, except I do think we saw a dead shark in the aquarium water as we went up. We thought it opened at 9, but it opened at 10. And I noticed in the middle of the pond there was a shark. So if you want to see it, go to our website, wendyandtheworld.com, and look for our post about the Chiang Mai Zoo. And then I'll show you the picture, and then you can determine for yourself. But one of the workers, we asked what that was, and we asked if it was a dead shark, and they kind of nodded, but they weren't necessarily, an expert at the aquarium. So It didn't look like a branch. That's all I'm going to say. Animals die. Fish die. Fish die all the time. It's not a, you could take the best care of a fish and they could die. So, I don't know what happened to it, but there was a small dead shark in the water. A small one. It wasn't like a giant shark floating around. But still, a shark is a shark. But that was basically what happened with our day. Those are the only two negatives, a dead shark in the water and the tiger. But other than that, fantastic day. Our son loved it. And yeah, normally we don't love zoos. We don't usually go at the right times or the right environments or the right weather or whatever, and we usually don't get to see most of the animals, or we go on a day when like a bunch of exhibits are closed. But today we hit the jackpot. Probably our best zoo experience we've ever had. So yay, Chiang Mai Zoo.